Okay, I'm going to talk about the crazy thing that church people do that's in church, and the evil things. And first of all, I want to say to you guys that I was in church for a very long time, 27 years, and so and I have been to other churches because you know how you get invited to other churches, so you go. So I've been to other churches, but I want to talk about how naive I was in church, and this is for you young people. When you go to church, I know you go with your heart, some young people, because you might be hurting or going through something and you don't know how to express it to someone. But I wanted to say to you, if you can't find somebody that you can talk to, that you can talk honestly with without them condemning you, and it'll make you feel better so you won't harbor resentment or anger, because people get so angry now and they remote to kill mode and their anger becomes wrath. And the problem is that they're harboring resentment. And if you hold something for too long, it'll become a wrath. And because you're human, you'll start to accumulate all these feelings of anger, which leads you to, oh, I want to kill because everybody's getting a gun and everybody want to kill someone. But that's not what you should do. You should find somebody that you can either cry on their shoulder, you can talk to honestly, you can tell them how you feel without them condemning you, so that you can let go all the anger, the resentment, and holding on to grudges. Life is too short to hold them. So in order for us to live, we need some kind of therapy. So therapy is being able to vent and not harbor resentment. Now, I'm going to tell you guys something about me. So I'm going to use myself as a testimony and example. Okay, when I was young, I would be in church. So I used to think that everybody in the church was honest. I used to think that that's how naive I was. But I went to church with my heart to be kind to everybody. Then I had to learn that some people would come to church all the time and they had other reasons. And I'm going to go down this lane and it's going to get really deep. Some people sit in church and then they'll do witchcraft or they try to do voodoo or black magic and they'll put it on you. And that's what was happening to me. And it was happening to me and I didn't know how to express it or go and tell the pastor of the church. So a lot of times I would just let it pass by, but there would be certain people, that they would sit in the church and in there right now, and and they do voodoo, they do witchcraft, they do black magic, and they got these young people coming in church and they're putting these spells and necromancy spells on these people, and these people are having strange deaths, children dying, or they're just having strange occurrences and people don't know why. Well, it's witchcraft. And then you have people sitting there and they know more about black magic, witchcraft, and voodoo. And they sit there and listen to the minister. They sit there and listen about Jesus. They sit there and they read the scripture. And they be the coldest, cruelest people that you ever want to meet in your life. They almost cooler than the street people. Reason why I say that, because as I got older, I had to learn, like, I had 5 relatives to pass away, and then as after I got older, I had some person to come and tell me, what they used to do, and that's why my relatives are dead. And you know how you look at people, you look at them like, I sat in church with you, and I known you all your life, and you went to a church, and you mean to tell me you practice black magic and voodoo? I didn't even know how to defend myself. I didn't. And even though I loved God with all my heart and my soul, I still didn't know how to defend myself against that. So I'm telling young people, when you go up in these churches and you make friends with these people, you better have somebody that can put some oil on your head, or somebody that can pray spiritual warfare so you can defend yourself against voodoo, witchcraft, and black magic. Because the worst people, the most jealous, envious, conniving, condemning people, I have to say it, they're in church, because that's, the devil, he was in heaven and Jesus kicked him out of heaven. So the devil has his place in the church. But they'll be the cruelest people, and they sit right there and they be in church all the time, on time, know everything the pastor do, when he go, and in his house and all of that. And they be cruel and they be so cold that sometimes they intimidate the younger people that's coming in church, and they really trying to get saved from something, really trying to get delivered from something. And this may be their first time there. And, they want to reach out to the pastor, but they can't because they're afraid, because of fear. So I'm telling you guys, don't harbor resentment, because this is a generation of harboring resentment, they harbor anger, and they hold unforgiving grudges. And you can't lay up at night and hold on to anger. You can't lay up at night and hold on and harbor resentment, because it's going to turn to wrath. And the devil will take your mind and make it into something that it's not supposed to be, and you're totally different person. And when you get to that point, that's why we have so much gun violence, because there's no therapy for these people, and then the people don't trust the therapist. So who can they trust? So then they want to go pick up a gun. The most of the people that's doing the most of the killing is the professional people. They need someone. You have to vent. Okay, you have to vent, and not on Facebook. You need to vent one-on-one, person to person, to somebody that can, feel what you feel, and so you can feel that you're relieving yourself. Because if you're allowed to vent and not harbor resentment and get out what you feel when you're angry, or when somebody hurts you, or your heart is broken, your heart is heavy, then you won't harbor resentment. You won't be so angry. You won't be angry enough to kill somebody. I used to have that problem when I was younger too. I used to get mad a lot all the time when I was being disciplined, or when I was being rebuked, because I would be chastised about something that I had did wrong. But I was honest enough to stand before the church and be able to take rebuking, be able to take chastisement. And I think that's how I stayed alive for so long, and I was into no hard drugs like heroin, crack, or cocaine, or, just become some kind of alcoholic, or, just, give up on life. Because, some people may be like, oh, I do drugs because my parents do drugs, or I do this because of this. And, people need to be able to vent and not harbor resentment to where they can heal, and this generation doesn't allow you to do that. And even if they're gay, even if they're transgender, they don't know who they are. And sometimes people are caught up in something, and it's spiritual, and they don't know which way to turn. So they'll turn to the bad thing because they're being condemned about, something, that they've been holding on to, and they're not allowed to vent, and they're not allowed to be free. Because it is a saying, he who the Son sets free is free indeed. But I'm going to take another turn to that, and that is allowing a person the freedom of being able to express themselves and not harbor resentment is a very, very, very good thing. And it's a very important part in life, and allowing them to talk to you on a realistic level, not this fictitious false utopia of who you want them to be, but let them be who they are. So, that's what's going on. But I wanted to say to the people that's in church, protect yourself. Protect yourself from those people that sit in church. They may be witches, whatever, and they sit right there, and they're there to give information to the devil, or to just prey on young and vulnerable people. And some people can't handle it. That's where suicide comes in, and that's where strange things happen to people. And even the psychiatrists, even the psychologists, even their mother, father, friends don't know what happened. And it's weird and it's strange, and they don't know why. But it's because somebody's either said something, done something to them, and they really do truly need prayer. So you do truly need prayer, because there's people out there seeking vengeance, and they're not seeking it with guns, they're seeking it another way. And like I said, I'm an example of 5 of my relatives dying, and each one died a strange death. And it was because I didn't know what a necromancer was. I'm being honest with you guys. All I knew that there was voodoo. I knew there was black magic and witches and all that, because I'm from the South. But I didn't know the depth and the extent of how far it goes. So, as me being naive and being a church girl, so I had to learn spiritual warfare from other people. And I'm going to be honest with you. Started learning it from Pastor Hinton and some other spiritual warfare people, because it's not being taught in the church. They're teaching you about the Bible, but they're not teaching you how to defend yourself on a spiritual, physical level, to where, you really need God, and you really need to talk to someone so that you won't harbor these things and the devil won't use you, and you don't have to believe in hell. You don't have to believe in heaven. You don't even have to believe in the devil. But when anger turns into wrath, it's real. And then some people get to that point when they're so angry, you see their eyes change. And it's because they've become another person, because they've allowed their anger to fester, and they're harboring resentment. And the anger now is not anger, it's wrath. And it's on a totally another level. And their thinking is at a totally another thinking thing. And people are not paying attention to them. And this is how we end up with a lot of people, killed in colleges and innocent people, because there's no one to see that this person is angry. Hey, there's something going on. I've had many experiences, because experience is a rude and demanding teacher, and a lot of those I've learned from experience, because I left home early without, calling my mother or my father or my grandfather. And I was from the South, and most of them are dead that was close to me. And I know that they loved me. But when you're young, sometimes you'll try to look for love in the wrong places. And you already had love in your family. But, that was my thing, being hard-headed. So my thing is to the younger generation in church: please learn spiritual warfare to protect yourself from people, because they can sit right next to you and just scrutinize you and be envious, jealous, and hateful for no reason. For no reason. And they'll know that you're young, and they know that you unlearned, and they'll harm you. And they'll come right back to church and smile like it's all right, like a devil in disguise. So I just want to say to you guys, thank you for listening. And I'm listening to everyone else and getting as much knowledge I can get, because I understand that you can never learn any. You can never learn everything. There's too much out there to be learned. So I'm always open to learning, and listening. And that's what makes me who I am. And thank you again. Goodbye.